I got this joint program right. Had to restart this whole jump. It's cool though, because I had it right. I had it set. So, yeah. did something wrong there. No, I did. I did. Shit. Oh my god, I gotta change this background. This titles. It's not.
Skip if you cannot move. Normal, highest.
Hello? Hold on. I think she did, yeah. Yeah, I think she did, yeah. Yeah. Next Friday. Next Friday. Yeah. Friday. Yeah, Friday. All right. Steam still open. Yeah, it's still open. That's what it is. Motherfucker. I forgot you had to set it to auto run to do the bounty system. Fuck, what a bounty system I got set up in this thing. You gotta set the things to auto run or it won't work. It'll yeah. I got so much to do in this joint. But it's easy. It's just a lot of photo editing skills, and I don't use Photoshop. I don't know how to use Photoshop. I use other things. That's how I make it. Change this, change it. Gotta fix the skill bar too. Alright. Let's get this started. That doesn't work. I'm stuck. It's going to be a event touch. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I hate when that happens. So it's got to be event touch. Not auto run. How that happens.
I need help, and I'm like, I want to give you a percentage, and it just didn't happen. So I don't want to call it spite, but like out of out of defiance for people who weren't going to help me, I was like, fine, I'll just do it myself. We'll do it live. I don't care. And so you helped me out, which I owe you big time, Thomas. You helped me out by introducing me to Matt Ty at Do Games, and he helped me pass certification. I self-published the first tree on all 3 consoles, and that's where it got really crazy, is because the game did decent on Xbox. It did okay on PlayStation 4, but on Nintendo Switch, it was near the end of a gold rush of 2018. The end of 2018 was the end of the indie gold rush.
Yep.
And, it's been discounted a lot, but I wonder if I can even say the number. It sold hundreds of thousands of units on Switch, which was great. And then I was like, I can quit my job. I can be full-time indie.
Yep.
And so after that, it was like such a whirlwind. I spoke at GDC about what I learned, and then I just got this massive influx of people wanting to talk and ask questions. And I was like, I love teaching. I'll do an online course because so many people are asking me questions. Why don't I make a video resource so everyone can learn what I did?
Right.
And that was really hard. And I can't even get into it all in this talk, but it taught me a lot. Like, I've turned my passion into a full-time job. Yeah. It wasn't as simple as I thought. I had turned me being this relatable personal connection into a product. Everyone was like, oh, there's the parasocial relationships on YouTube where people are like, that guy, he's a nice guy, he's gonna help me out. And when it's so many things like suicidal teenagers or children, like 12-year-olds in war-torn countries whose cities have just been bombed, and you're just getting every single email, like an impossible amount of people to talk to, and that was hard. I learned a lot about myself. It was it was during COVID as well. It was such a horrible, dark time in my life, to be honest. And it's like, oh, you have the dream job, and that's what the voice in the back of your head's saying. And then I don't know, have you gone through something like that, of turning this full time and trying to keep your sanity at the same time?
It's oh man, I don't know how to explain it. So you and I both we make games, and then we also do YouTube content, and I saw you started doing more YouTube content. And then we also sell resources to people, right? So it's 3 completely different business models that are also linked depending on the financial situation you're in, right? So for example, if you make a ton of money from your games, you can just sort of side hustle with YouTube or selling resources or whatever, and you can make a lot of money from both, right? And you're running multiple businesses. But then when the economy tanks or things suck in the game industry, then you start sort of relying on one thing over the other. And so I'm a big fan of having multiple streams of income. And you and I have talked about this for years, how much I value having multiple streams of income. But my problem is I always feel like I'm on thin ice.
Yeah.
I always feel like everything's going to collapse underneath me. And that's a terrible way to build a business, right? If you're going to build a game studio, you cannot, you and I are friends with Julian, and Julian was on the previous podcast, and he's making a game called Lens Island. His mindset's totally different than mine.
Yeah.
His mindset is I'm just going to put everything into this game, and it's going to do great, and I'm good. Granted, he carried a lot of that stress internally, which led to his heart attack.
Heart attack. So crazy.
Yeah, dude. So for me, I've got 3-4 backup plans at all times. And what that means is I give so much of myself to YouTube, to my subscribers, to my students, to my publishers, to my team. And then by the end of the day, when I go downstairs and I've got 3 kids running after me, well, 2, and then one of them's sitting in her bouncer, which is an infant. And then a wife as well, and a dog. And it's I've got nothing left. And did you ever, I'm not sure if you felt that way, but did you ever feel this isn't worth it? like the constantly being stretched. You know, when Bilbo in is it Bilbo? Yeah, Bilbo says in Fellowship of the Ring, he's like butter scraped over too much bread.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way?
Yes, 100%. And I've talked to other business owners, small business owners, and it seems like it's pretty common. We're adults now, and it's funny because I still feel like that teenager making mods for video games, but like, you know, there's a crushing responsibility to provide. That's what kind of like, when I spoke at GDC, I had this one guy come up to me, and he was like this senior engineer at Samsung, really probably making a ton of money, really smart. And he had a different problem than me. He was like, I hate my day job. I just can't do this anymore. My life is like running out in front of my eyes, and I don't want to do this anymore. I want to make indie games. And he's like, he got a phone out, his phone out. He's like, David, if you tell me right now to quit my job and make games, I will call my boss literally in front of you, and I'll quit my job and make games.
That's so
And
funny.
this was my honest answer. I said, don't do that. Don't not do that. And I don't know if it was, I think it was the right answer, but I don't think it was what he was expecting. Because I think I've been full-time for now 5-6 years. My course helped supplement my bills, but it didn't help as much as I thought it would. And so it's been kind of like, you know, I've been worried about paying the bills and stuff. But yeah, it's I think now that I look back, I might have been happier when I was working on the first tree and I had a day job to pay the bills. And that was just me. Like, I know like your material is like get a publishing deal and do a Kickstarter and quit your job. And some people, that is like the happiest day of their life when they're like, I'm making games full time. But like, to do it for a decade or two, it might be the hardest thing you ever do, and it might tear you apart in some ways. And so that's kind of what I'm learning. I've tried to be wise financially. I read the book. I think it's called Rebound. It's a business book, I think by the Basecamp devs or something in San Francisco. And you know, they said like one of their tips they give everybody is like diversify revenue. And they said, look at this book. Like we're web developers, but we made this book and it's a bestseller, and we're diversifying our revenue and creating a safety net for our company.
Yeah, that's really encouraging to hear, man. Because like I always, sorry to interrupt, but like I always feel kind of guilty, even though like my games have always provided just enough for me and my team. Things are getting tight right now in the economy. Yeah. The game industry is really tough, and so having a diversified income stream for me has been a godsend, specifically in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I can't get into the details. You and I have talked about it in private, but I needed
most of them here.
Significant.
And you can see
well,
this
it's
one here.
significant to the people listening right now. Probably a significant amount of money to pay my team during a difficult time, and I'm just really, really glad that I had a YouTube channel, and I'm probably going to do a whole video on this of why YouTube is so valuable to game devs. But yeah, dude, it's been so helpful. But all that said, you mentioned something earlier I wanted to comment on, which is you said if you think you might have been happier when you had a day job. I don't think I've ever been, this is so sad, but I don't think I've ever been like truly happy. Like from the day I was born until now, I'm just not like a happy person. I'm a motivated person.
You're ambitious, and you don't want to sit still. You want to keep going.
Yeah. And so like working for a boss, it's there's more peace, I guess, on one side of your body, maybe the financial side, but there's another part of my body that's just burning if I can't do what I want to do. You know what I mean? And so it's not joy, it's not happiness, it's satiation.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Being satiated?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm happy. And so it's kind of like really frustrating because like last night I was up at like 3 a.m. No, like it was like midnight to 4, just like anxious.
Yeah.
About Twisted Tower, which is the game I'm working on. And I had to get up and like I took like a 30-minute shower trying to like calm down. And I'm sitting here thinking, why am I putting myself through this? And it's all it is just wanting to be satisfied creatively. It's like a drug. It's literally like a drug. I'm unhappier when I'm doing drugs, right? The drug of game dev. I'm unhappy, but I'm addicted to it. And it's just the creative control. It's such a weird thing. So I don't even know, like you said, I don't know if I would recommend this to somebody to quit their full-time job to do this. I would say make sure you have plenty of money before you start doing this.
Yeah. And in these creative fields that are very competitive, I think it's a common thread. I come from a film background, and I know some visual effects artists, which is the most brutal industry, 100-hour weeks, constant overtime, no benefits. There was like this huge article on how these Oscar-winning visual effects artists were living out of their car. And a lot of visual effects artists are like, oh, you want to go into the movie industry and make special effects and get money. And they're like, no, don't do that. If you want to make money, do something else. But
Do something else,
if you have to make visual effects, like you were born to do it, you have to, then that's the only reason you should do it. And I love telling stories. I kind of have to. I don't know. It is hard. It's hard doing that balance, right? Of you want to do a successful business, but you want to make the games you want to make. Those games aren't selling well. It's a balance, but what drives, I see this with you too, is it's like, I don't know if I can say like, I'm getting high off of it, but it's this ambition. And that's why, like, when people ask me, like, oh, do you regret going full-time indie? Because, my thing, we'll talk about the new game soon, which has been this amazing surprise in my life. But right now, like, if this new game didn't exist, I am broke. I spent all the money on this new game, which it's paying off. We'll talk about that later, I guess. People ask, like, oh, is it worth the risk? Like, has it been worth it? Because, like, my family has needed to sacrifice, and I've sacrificed all my savings, and I've sacrificed my mental health. I've had to talk to therapists. I'm on medication now, which has been a huge blessing in my life. Just trying to figure this out, like to do this and be happy.
I don't know. I don't know if happiness is the right word.
I don't know if it's happiness. I'm very, like, I'm proud of my work. I'm satisfied with it. But I think I had to do it. And those are the people I feel like succeed in indie games and in all artistic fields. Like, they have to do it. They just, it's in their blood. And yeah, and you either, you can quit your job or you don't quit your job and moonlight. I think all of that's irrelevant. Oh, do I pick Unity or Unreal? It doesn't really matter, I think, because in the long run, those people that they make a project, they stick with it, which is incredibly hard. They release it, and then they pivot. They learn from it. That's all it is. You do these games, and you learn something from it. You're like, okay, I'm going to do something different this time. And the next game is a bit more of a success. You climb a ladder. And those are the people I see have been successful. And that's what I'm seeing in my career. And poor sales. And I just kept going, and I just analyzed the data, the output from this experience of releasing a game. I change things, and I do more research. And if people do that, it's usually the people that make millions of dollars, and then they get to they beat the game. They beat the indie dev challenge. And they're like, oh, I can make whatever I want now because I'm a millionaire. And that's my feeling on it. People that don't get that.
Sure, exactly. And I think you and I were talking about this last week. Maybe it was earlier this week. We were just saying, wouldn't it be wonderful to release it? Because I'm working on Twisted Tower. You're working on We Harvest Shadows. We'll talk about it in a sec. And I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we just had this Both of our games just went gangbusters.
Oh yeah.
Made $4 million a pop, $4 million per game, and I'm getting chills. And I know I shouldn't, because it's like, that's not why you make a game. But it would be nice to just release a game that goes gangbusters. Nice. And all of a sudden you're like, I can make whatever I want. Yeah. And I don't have to worry about funding. And I don't have to worry about YouTube. Because I'll be honest with everybody, YouTube it can be a grind.
Huge grind.
And I love everybody listening right now, but it's rough sometimes. And yes, I do YouTube because, number one, I help you guys who are listening, but it does provide an income. Spoiler alert, it brings in income, and that's a good thing, and it helps me in my studio.
That's okay. Don't feel guilty about that.
But it's tough, It's like always seeking funding, always seeking a way to keep this train moving and chugging along. It would be nice to finally hit that big break. And to your point, it's kind of, and it's also to Julian's point, Julian, the creator of Lens Island, he said this last week. He said it's kind of basically inevitable that you'll eventually have a gangbusters game. Yeah. Because, I don't know, the way I see it is kind of like something like playing Animal Crossing. You just pull in the weeds. Uh-huh. And then before you know it, all of a sudden you've got a mansion on this island with like a pristine lawn. That's not what game dev's about, but it's the inevitable outcome of being obsessive and, well, let's try to change that word because I don't like obsession. Passionate. And almost, you can't stop doing it. You have to do it. I love that what you said about it's almost a requirement. There's people where it's just built into their DNA. And I don't know what that is, but it's in me, and I don't know where it came from,
Yeah, and I bring it up because it's okay for this to be a hobby. Like, it's okay to, like, you don't have to kill yourself if you just want to make games for fun. And that's like such like a pure, honest pursuit, and I really admire that now. And it gets more complicated when it's like, oh, this has got to provide my salary. It's got to feed my children. I have to work on it even though I'm so sick of it. Like, there's so much freedom of doing it for fun and being like, I'm going to work on this. Oh, I'm done working on it. I don't need to work on it anymore. And that's like, that is what makes people happy. Like, that, I think, is why I say I was happiest when I had the day job where the money was taken care of, and then I could work on my game, and it was such like this, it was such like a pure thing. It was so, I just really enjoyed that time.
The variable is freedom, I think. Freedom. Now, you're not free when you're obsessed with your game and everything hinges on it, and it has to make you a certain amount of money. That's slavery to your game. Yeah. If I might say so. I think freedom is a great way to be happy. If you're looking for happiness in game dev, try and figure out how to do it while being free from the anxiety and the misery of constantly worrying about the game's performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm learning a lot, and I'm proud of what I've learned, and I'm applying it to my business. It's kind of like what Julian said. He said, like, my body is a machine to make games, so let's take care of it. Let's optimize it. Take out the pressure a little bit. And, I spiral, like I catastrophize where I'm like, oh no, my course sales, no one is buying it. We're going to die. I'm going to have to sell the house. That's not true. Like, it will work out. But that's how my brain gets when it's like the pressure. It's just so much all the time. And I think it's true with almost all business owners. It's not just a video game thing. It's not just a tech thing. Yeah. It is the sacrifice you make as an entrepreneur. And I don't have an answer for it. I think that's why it's so hard. And that's why, like, I'm close to the end of, like, what I can handle. Have you watched The Bear, that Hulu show?
No, we watched an episode and it hit really close to home for just that it's a family show, right? It's all about family.
In a restaurant.
And it hit really close to home for someone in my family, and we had to turn it off because it was really hard.
Oh yeah.
But it's a very, very emotional show, right?
It is, and it's a show about passion and burnout. and that's why it appeals to me, is because there's a part where one of the new chefs, her name's Sydney, and Sydney's talking to her dad because she's opening up this restaurant, but she's also like already so burnt out. And then Sydney keeps saying like they're gonna do it one more time for this restaurant called The Bear. And the dad's asking like, why do you feel like this is like the last chance you have? Like, don't you have so many more chances to follow your dreams and open up many restaurants? And Sydney says like, this has to be the last one because it's the only one I got left in me. And that's how it felt after. Like I was burnt out 5 years ago. I was burnt out six.
Me too.
Like in 20,
Oh,
I was working on the
geez.
first tree, 2016, and then I released it on Steam 2017, and then I was burnt out. But I was like, ooh, I made 100,000 off Steam. That's pretty cool. I want it on consoles, so I spent like a huge chunk of money to get it on consoles, and it paid off. Like I did get lucky with the Nintendo Switch launch. But by that point, like I worked a year with my porting partner Matt. I worked a year on it, and again, I was burnt out then. And I just keep doing it, and it's because of fear, it's because of anxiety. But I was like, I don't know. I'm afraid I have fried my brain. Like I've pushed myself so hard. But there was a time, yeah, after the course, I was especially burnt out and depressed. And then I took a break. We had savings because we did have savings from the Switch launch and the course. And I was like Sydney from The Bear. I was like, I think I got one more left in me.
One more.
And I was like, I think I can do it for real. I have this budget. I can hire a programmer to help me, which is my weak spot. And I could make this game that I truly believe would do well. And it's a game that I was really excited about. And that led me to my 2 years in like seclusion, pretty much. Just me and my family working on this new game.
Well, let's hear about it. I want to hear all about this game. And I played the demo. It's freaking awesome.
Awesome.
I'm so excited for you, but let's hear about
Thanks, man. So yeah, just 2.5 years ago, I had this idea. I study Steam charts like every day. I'm one of the, I was talking to one of the Pal World devs recently, and he's like, "Oh, you're one of those." I'm like, "Yeah, I love it."
Yeah.
I check the Steam charts every day because I find it very interesting. I'm like, what is like appealing to gamers? Like, what do gamers want? And I have my own tastes. Like, I'm wearing my Silent Hill 2 shirt because I freaking love it, and I've been playing the remake. It's one of my favorite games ever. But I'm curious about, we talked about this our last talk, I think. The zeitgeist. Like, what is like the world of gamers? What are they drawn to? And you see it. Like, there's trends. There's cozy games. There's the battle royale games. There's games as a service that got so popular for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so that's the fun part of my job is I'm like, what's gonna go big, and what is something I want to make in that type of genre. I love cozy games. Like, I played a ton of Animal Crossing during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley is a masterpiece. I was just thinking, like, what can I do that will do well, and that's something I want to make so it can help my family and also be something I'm really proud of. And so I had this thought of an anti-cozy game, and I would make my first horror game because I love horror games. My last 2 games maybe had horror adjacent elements where it was kind of scary at times, but they weren't horror games. So I was like, I want to make, and I was like watching a lot of like the A24 horror films. Like, they're almost like neo horror. There's like this new genre taking off in film, and usually games are behind film by quite a bit. So I was like, wow, people really love films like The Witch and Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
The Babadook is so good. I love that movie.
Yeah, I don't think that was A24. Was
No,
it?
that one's not A24.
Yeah, that was Australia. It was some Australian company. But yeah, really quick, what's your favorite A24 horror film?
Oh man, I don't know. Hereditary was filmed in Utah, so I'm quite partial to that one.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
My friend worked on the visual effects in it. It's like down the street.
Did he work on that wonderful scene where she smacks her head?
That's exactly what he worked on. Yeah, that's exactly what he worked on. And that was, I know exactly where that road is near Park City in Utah.
Oh, I did not know that, man. Yeah, that's my favorite one for sure. And then obviously Midsummer right below it.
Yeah, I love Midsummer.
so-
And I also, this is unpopular, but I am obsessed with M. Night Shyamalan because his movies are so thrilling, but they have so much heart and they're so beautiful. And
You got to give him credit, man. He at least he tries.
oh yeah,
You know, to be unique and come up with something. Like, if he's gonna make a horror movie about a woman who comes out of a pool, more power to you for trying, buddy. Because nobody else is really trying except him and Ari Aster. So
Yeah.
that's so funny you bring that up. Those two directors are, they are my favorite directors.
they're so good. And like I think about how the Village, which kind of got a lot of hate. I think that's one of the most beautiful films ever made, and it's so like it's scary, but it's also like a tearjerker, and it's so poignant. It's so melancholy. The music's like the best soundtrack I've ever heard ever.
Do you still listen to it?
Yeah, I listened to the Village
Me too.
soundtrack the whole time I was making We Harvest Shadows, pretty much.
Oh man, dude, I feel like you're like my brother because I have 3 older brothers, and we all love the same things,
Yeah.
and so the Village, we all felt so excommunicated from all of our other friends because we loved the Village.
Yeah, it's great.
When I saw it, we walked out of the theater and everyone was like, "That is so stupid," and I was like, "That was the best thing ever." And it's not a horror movie, but it was marketed as one,
Yeah.
and that was the big problem. It should not have been.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it should have been marketed as this is like a dramatic, old school sort of vintage film.
Oh yeah,
and that's what it is.
like
you know,
imagine if it was released in present day under the A24 label and it had no twist. Just take out the twist. It's like a historical drama. It's a historical drama. It would have been a masterpiece.
well, how do you get rid of the twist though? How do you get rid of the twist? Because like the twist is the whole theme of the film.
Yeah, but it's like they could have done that whereas like present day. I mean, present day for them, like in the 1800s
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. I just feel like it distracted
I
people,
gotcha.
so everyone's thinking about the twist at the end. They're like, "That was stupid." It's like, no, just
Yes.
did you forget all those moments, those perfect
Yeah.
moments in the film? But
You know who the wasted opportunity in that film was? It was actually Joaquin Phoenix. I feel like he wasn't given enough direction
yeah,
in who to be, and because the character he played, I felt like that it was the least had the least depth.
yeah.
So that could have been. I think his character was kind of weak, but that's just me.
Yeah, he's like supposed to be like the moody, quiet guy, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's kind of the thoughts where like I wanted this idea of We Harvest Shadows popped in my head, and it was based on all those things I love. But, and this is important because I think a lot of developers they don't do this step. I looked at what was popular and what people were buying, what people were excited. I saw, Silent Hill 2, the remake, it had a ton of wish lists. People were so pumped for it. And I saw all the farming games, the cozy farming games were super popular. And I'm like, how can we combine those two things in an interesting way and tell a new story? And so I was hoping people would come for the but then they would stay for the characters and for the emotion behind the music. I got to work 2.5 years ago. Stopped doing YouTube and stuff, which it was kind of hard because making a game is such an iterative process. It would have been nice, I think, to have like feedback along the way. But I had an idea, and this is kind of where my marketing ideas come into play. I had a following from the first tree. I noticed that a lot of the games that did well were in these announcements, these big live events, like the PC Gaming Show, Opening Night Live, the Game Awards, Summer Game Fest. And I noticed that some indies, like big indies, I just noticed that indies were getting spots in these shows, and I thought that was really cool. And I found out later it's because people like Jeff Keighley and his team, they want to support smaller games, and because they love smaller games. They love unique games that only indies can make. And I thought that was really cool. So I had this theory. I was like, if I work in secret, then that gives me more marketing leverage to be like, hey, I'm the maker of the first tree. Here's my new never before seen trailer that I've worked really hard. And I did. I worked my butt off on that trailer. I had a friend who had like this motion capture stage in his basement. And so yeah, I asked for his help to do the trailer to make it like seem more than just a small indie title. I wanted it to feel really high, like professional and high production quality.
Yeah.
I worked so hard on that trailer. I think I worked on the trailer for like 3 to 4 months by itself.
Holy crap.
And the trailer was done like a year before my announcement, because I was trying to pitch it to people. I worked really hard on a pitch document, and I had the trailer. And during all that time, I had also realized that the people that get so many wish lists, it's because they have a demo. They have a fantastic demo. And it's harder with a narrative game, but also it gives you a different kind of strength. You can end on a cliffhanger. You can have all these previews of the characters and be like, oh, I want to know what happens next. And so it's a lot of work. I basically have made 2 games. I've made the We Harvest Shadows demo, and now I'm working on the full version, which, you know, they share the systems and stuff that we work so hard on, but it was a lot of work to make the demo.
I did the same thing. The demo. Man, we spent all summer fine-tuning just the demo. We haven't released it yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge time commitment. And here's where you start to get into that territory of like, is this fun anymore? Is this like fulfilling me? It's like, well, no, this is your business, and you gotta get the demo good, or else it's all for nothing. So I do have help, but I'm like burning through all my cash reserves, because this is the funny thing. I mentioned how in the first tree I'll do it myself. It's like, okay, I got a cool game idea. It's unannounced, because, you know, sometimes there's like Devolver, they'll do type of live event to announce their new games. I was like, okay, this is great. I have something going on, and I think it's a cool idea. So I worked really hard on the pitch deck. At that point, I didn't have a demo ready. I just had like a sandbox mode. And all right, let's. I'm not gonna be burnt out anymore. I'm gonna get help. I'm gonna get a publisher to help me for the first time, because I'm tired. I've been burnt out for 5 years. I pitched to the big publishers, the big ones that everyone knows, and it was super unenthusiastic and super lukewarm. Sometimes they would respond and be like, it's an interesting idea, but we don't think it's gonna work. That was what I heard a lot. I pitched to I had relationships with my account managers at Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox. And I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We just don't think it's the right idea for the market. So that's literally, I'm by myself in seclusion working on this game that I believe in. Like, I love this game. I want to play this game idea, and I love the characters in this game. And everyone's telling me that it's not gonna work. No one's gonna buy it. I even hired some consultants who were like biz dev indie experts, and they said, yeah, it might sell 20,000 units lifetime. And I was like, oh, that's so harsh.
How much money is that?
I don't know. Maybe like it was a $15 game. What is that? Like 300,000, make $400,000. And remember, like I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this.
Oh, dude, David, that's so discouraging, man.
And I don't know why. It's like that thing we talked about earlier. Like I just had to. This was the last thing I had in me, and I was like, now there's like a little bit of, again, not spite, but like I wanted to prove people wrong. I was like, no, I love this game idea. Like I'm a gamer. Like I play all these games, and I want to play this game. That was really important. I keep going. No positive feedback whatsoever. And I'm working hard, and then, man, I'm sending the trailer to these live events, like to participate possibly, and sure enough, through some miracle, how did it happen anyway? I got turned down for the Game Awards, I got turned down for Summer Game Fest, and then I was like, wait, like I was so tired. In fact, I had decided I was going to announce without a big event because I was so burnt out. I was like, I can't like keep living. This is like where a lot of the depression comes from too, is like I didn't know if it was going to be a success, and that I was spending all of our money and sacrificing my mental health for a game that probably won't do well. And I had no idea. I just had no idea. So I needed to to announce. So I was planning to announce probably, last August, regardless of if I didn't get into my last chance, because I couldn't take it anymore. So I decided I was going to do one last thing, and that was I was going to apply for Gamescom in Germany. It's the biggest gaming show in the world.
Yeah.
And I was going to apply for the Indies of America booth, which was expensive. Like, it's thousands of dollars. And it was a risk because, we're running out of money. But they did say in their little info pamphlet for Indies of America, if you apply for the show, then you get a chance to pitch to the opening night live team. And opening night live is huge game. They sometimes feature indies. And I was like, okay, let's do it. This is my last chance. And sure enough, my manager of the booth said, here's Haley's email. Wow, I finally got his email. He liked it. I showed him the trailer, and he was like, he's a really busy man, but it's like a one sentence thing like, David, I saw your trailer. This is great. Maybe we can, he said he wasn't committed. He just said, maybe we can put it in the show, but I can't confirm anything. So again, this was in March or April, coming up to August when, I gotta wait. And that was killer. I was like, is this gonna happen or not? Really soon before the show, Jeff Keighley's like, hey, great news. We'd love to have you in the pre-show for free as an editorial placement. Normally these shows cost, I don't know, I think the pre-shows or something like that. But it began, again, talking to the crew with Jeff Keighley. They want to support us. They believe it. So that validation was such a relief.
Did he even play the game?
No, he just saw the trailer. He might have played the demo. Okay. I sent him the demo, so maybe he did. I don't know. And they said, hey, we interviewed you too during the pre-show of Opening Night Live. I was like, I'd love to talk about it because it was a really interesting human aspect of the story. That's one of our greatest strengths as indies, is that we can be we're not like a faceless AAA company. It's it's a guy. It's a guy like Thomas, or there's a guy like David, and it's like, oh, look at this guy's story and stuff, and he's putting those feelings, those very personal feelings, into a game. So they interviewed me, which was kind of fun and stressful, and they invited me to Gamescom, to the opening night live show, and that was a whole other thing. And by this point, I still don't know, I knew the game would probably get 10,000 wish lists in a day just from being an opening night live pre-show, because the game had never been announced. It was top secret. But then I was like, okay, I have the demo almost ready, and I think launching with the demo will be great publicity. So yeah, I worked so hard on the demo, and then I had a lot of friends. I had some GDU students. I had some acquaintances play the demo for We Harvest Shadows as a play test, because that's important. You can't just launch a demo and no one's tried it before. You need to fix all the bugs, or else you're gonna get raked over the coals. My play testers, they did not like my game.
What the heck?
Some people did. I want to be fair. Some people were like, I love this game. But I would say the majority of it was like, I don't play games like this. I don't really like it. I think it's pointless. It's boring. I give it a 4 out of 10. That was one of the reviews.
I just got a 5 out of 10 from one of my playtesters
for Twisted
yesterday.
Tower.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
I was thinking, in a way, I think you're just a mean person. Because, a 5? I mean, give it a 6 at least. 5, oh my goodness. But you and I have been talking for the last 2 weeks, and you've been so encouraging to me, David, because I've been doing playtesting. And it's hard, because you're essentially just sending it out to random people that aren't necessarily in your genre, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Steam the algorithm knows how to push the demo to the right guys, right?
Exactly.
So it's totally different. The feedback you get from I learned this from you a couple days ago. Just because you're getting feedback in playtesting has almost no correlation to what Steam players are going to feel.
Yes.
And also they got a free demo, so there's a feeling of it's free, so it's they're going to be a little bit maybe more generous.
They
I don't
are.
know.
They're more forgiving with the demo.
Yeah.
I first of all, I played Twisted Tower, and I seriously loved it. You're so talented with
Thank
art, and I've been a fan of your game
Thank
since Pinstripe beat that game. So you know what you're
Thanks,
doing.
dude.
You're so talented with art and execution, and I had so much fun with it.
I appreciate it. Thank
I'm
you.
really excited for your demo, and I think I'm usually not wrong about these things. I think your game's going to be successful. With like seeing all my
I hope
students,
you're not wrong.
I've seen like my students and Game Dev Unlocked, and I've seen some of them where I'm like, this game is gonna pop off, and I'm almost always right, which is cool. And I feel like Twisted Tower is gonna pop off, but yeah, get the demo, polish it. It's so important.
I just got an email from Jay Armstrong, the creator of Cult of
Yeah,
Lamb.
I saw that podcast that you had.
Yeah,
with him.
Side note here, just so I can flex a little bit on this podcast. He emailed me and he played the demo yesterday, Twisted Tower, and it was so encouraging.
Good,
because
he's an expert.
I had just gotten.
He's a game design god.
Oh, for sure, and he gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yes,
he was like, he said, "Holy crap, dude!" But he used a different word, and I was like, yes, like thank you. But it's so hard for everybody listening. If you do a play test, if you get feedback that's negative, like David and I have gotten for our games, it's almost meaningless. Like, I don't know. You just kind of just have to ignore it and look at the aggregate.
Yeah.
Because, like, right now I'm sitting at an 8.2 out of 10 with testers. And these are, like, hand-picked. Half of them are game dev legends. So I'm feeling really good today. Feeling really, really good. Did you get an aggregate when you were sampling data or playtesting?
I guess I could. I actually didn't average it out, but it hovered around 6 to 7 out of 10. There were
That's discouraging, man.
I don't know what to say. I have a few theories. Like you mentioned, the Steam algorithm is so good at finding the right player base. And like, if someone were to make me play, like, I don't really like deck builder games that much. And so if someone were to make me play a deck builder game that was like a rough demo, I think I'd be like, oh, it's fine. Like, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Fix that bug.
But that's not your goal. Your goal, like for Twisted Tower, like your goal, Thomas, is to find the people who love BioShock and are itching to play a new BioShock. Like that is your golden goose. And like think of Eric Baroni with Stardew Valley. He was like Harvest Moon fans. Like that's who he was targeting, not someone who's like, I want to play Call of Duty. Like no, he wants Harvest Moon fans, and that's what he did.
But for you, it's like you want to maybe I'm wrong here, but I think yes, you want to get the farming sim people, kind of.
Yeah.
But really, you want to get the people who like a sense of place, and a feeling and a mood, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people that I'm trying to find. It's like, okay, yeah, combat's fun, but like me personally, for Twisted Tower, I'll be honest, combat is not my priority. My priority is a sense of place,
atmosphere,
and feeling atmosphere. And if it oozes atmosphere, the goal is to find the people who love atmosphere. That's my player base, right? And your player base, I feel like, is kind of the same thing. You want the people who are going to be invested in the story and the mood and the feeling more than anything else.
Yeah,
right.
And that was like when I told you about the biz dev consultants and the people that like rejected the game a year ago. That was usually their reasoning, where they're like, "Oh, it's a genre mashup, and you're going to push away the farming fans and the horror fans because you're not doing both very well."
It's not that you're not doing it well; it's that it's like you're not like amping it up.
Yeah.
It's not like super horror or super farming sim. It's light on both those things.
Yeah.
And so they're probably, like, rightfully, at least from like an initial thought, maybe you thought maybe they're correct.
Yeah.
Because,
And it scared me. It's like, oh, these are really smart people. Like, they've been doing this decades. Like, maybe this game won't do super well. But that was the thing. And this is the thing, like, I can't quantify. But, like, my gut was telling me, like I saw all the power washing simulator games. I saw all the popular horror games on itch where you, like, you're working at the convenience store and you got to take the trash out. Like, all these task-oriented horror games. I saw the Mortuary Assistant sold like 300,000 copies where you're just doing a job while you get haunted. And then I saw how we have been inundated with these soulless arena shooters and soulless MOBAs, and like people were sick of these games as a service. They want more personal single-player games. And all the business people would say, nah, we gotta do Fortnite, bro. That's the only way we're gonna make money. We gotta do these games. We gotta do Diablo on phones and stuff. And it's like no, like I'm a gamer. Like I want more games like Silent Hill. I want more games like What Remains of Edith Finch. And I think there was a drought. There was a gap in the market. And that's why I believed in my game. That's why I believed in my game. I was like, this has to resonate. And it sucks to work in secret and everybody except maybe your wife is telling you this game is not going to work.
Yep.
But I kept going. I just, you got, again, like you just have to keep going. And this is like, I had this one last game left in me. I was like, I'm going to do it good. So I knew the demo needed to be good. I did have a brilliant programmer helping me, Connor from Smash Button Games, and he helped me a ton fix all the issues. But yeah, it was a lot of asset packs. It was a lot of customizing textures. It was a lot of shortcuts. It was a really scrappy indie project. And even though it was so scrappy, it still cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. It was a huge risk. It was a giant gamble. And that's what you kind of got to do, I guess, nowadays.
How did that affect we can cut this out if you want, but how did that affect your marriage and your family? It being a gamble.
I have a super supportive wife, and she was like supportive of like, yeah, do Game Dev Unlocked. That's a good idea. Diversify. I think.
Your course.
Yeah, my course. I think she hated seeing me suffering so much, and so she was like, yeah, get to announcement day. Then we'll know. Like, that's all I wanted to know. Like, I didn't even need it to be successful by August. I was like, I just need to know if the game will flop or succeed. Yeah. And then she told me, she's like, I'm tired of seeing you like stressed and hurting and having insomnia. Like, let's figure out a different plan, so you're not doing it all. Because at the end of the day, and this is a truth I think is totally relevant, I think making a game is kind of impossible. Like, I just think it's this impossible task, and we do it anyway because we're kind of crazy. But every game released is a miracle. Like, every single game, it's so hard. I don't think people realize, like, to do a full game, how much work it actually is. And to do it by yourself is kind of close to insane, but we do it anyway. We do it.
I think, I can't remember what I said. I said it in a previous podcast, but making a game is something like, it's kind of like building a house during a hurricane.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. Because it's collapsing all around you at all times.
Yeah.
The first reason is because you're not perfect, so like your code sucks or your assets aren't correct or they're not sized properly or blah, 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 blah. There's a million reasons why you're just not building it perfectly. But the other reason why it collapses while you're building it is because you're collapsing it.
Yeah.
You're the hurricane.
Yep.
Your future self, my future self, I promise you this, next week will collapse my certain parts of my game that I built this week.
Oh, man.
And that's just because you grow. The whole concept of a game design document is a wonderful thing, but we should all know that your GDD that you have at the beginning is completely irrelevant to the final game.
Yeah.
You change everything. And it is like, I feel it's definitely unhealthy, but it's like some people have a really unhealthy relationship with like food, right? Mm-hmm. They feel guilt about food. I feel guilt about breaking my project.
Yeah.
And I'll lay awake at night and feel like such an idiot for Thomas, how could you do this? And how could you do this to your team? Because we've reworked every single level in Twisted Tower a minimum of 3 times. And by rework, I mean delete it and start over.
Yeah.
And that's 10 levels, so that's 30 levels total, just completely sabotaged and destroyed. And my team member Felipe, he's the 3D artist, and I'm the art director. Just so people know kind of how we work together. I'll tell him what I'm thinking, and he'll build it. And then a month later, I'll say, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And it's so much guilt and anxiety and pressure. But I'm learning, and it's because of conversations like this, where I talk to top-tier devs who have created something magical. And they're like, yep, we were there. Did the same thing.
I'll go through.
You know? All of them.
My heart goes out to you. It's part of the creative process. It's iterative. And I have a quote actually while you were speaking. It's very relevant for Twisted Tower. I read interview with Ken Levine a long time ago.